Hello and welcome to HyperProductionTV. In this episode we're going to be looking at white noise sweepers and riser effects using the white noise as well. This was a video request by a chap called Sam Middleton. He asked me how I go about creating white noise effects and how to incorporate it as a sweeper effect within a track. So I've got a sort of a session that I've got here, which I've already sort of created, just incorporated a few demonstration of drums and that, and just basically how you're going to use the white noise to sweep into a main bulk of a track. So at the top here, I've already created one. So this is the sound that we're going for. So as you can hear, it's a pretty basic white noise sweeper effect using reverb and a filter. So I'm going to talk you through how I did that right now. So I'm using the ES2 Synth that comes within Logic Pro 10. The reason I've used this one is that on oscillator 3 down here, there's actually a noise feature. So if I take off these effects here and then just press a key, it's basically just a plain white noise. So there's a few ways that you can get that sort of filtered sweep effect where it comes in gradually. You can use automation, which I'll go through in another video, which is basically just where you automate this cutoff filter just here to go up and down, like that. But I'm going to show you another cool technique where you can use a filter that comes with Logic Pro 10 that you can choose how long you want the sweep to come in for. Instead of having to draw it in every time, you can just select either 2 bars, 4 bars, 6 bars, 8 bars and whatever. So there we have our just basic sound of white noise, and then what I've put on top of that is a reverb using the Space Designer within Logic as well. So I'm going to turn that on and you'll notice a difference. I'll play it with that and then I'll switch it on. So as you can see, it sounds a bit bigger already, and in your stereo field it sounds wider across the 2 speakers as well. And the one that I went for was in large spaces, halls, and I went down to the Michaelis nave, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that. If you do know how to pronounce it, then let me know. I just thought that one sounded quite nice. The decay time on it was quite nice as well. It sounded quite nice and wide. Then on top of that, I've put on the AutoFilter, which is, if you go in this drop down menu, go on filter, it's the first one that you come to, and then just in stereo. And then what this does, it's like an automated filter that it basically does it all for you. This is why I chose this way over the automation instead of having to draw it in. It's just a really quick way of how to basically get it rising and how to open up the filter so you can hear the white noise, so to create a sweep effect. So the one that I've used is actually a preset within it as well. It's called Constant Rise 4 bars. And then I'll play it through now, and I'll leave it off so you can hear what it's doing. And then you see I've got it set to 6 bars here. Even though you may have noticed that it's only 4 bars long, I've chosen 6 bars, and I'll explain in a minute why. So I'll just switch that on so you can hear. Now, I'll quickly explain why I've done 6 bars. When you do 4 bars, when the white noise opens, towards the higher end of when the cutoff here goes like that, there's not an awful amount of difference to the sound. So it sounds like the filter's already fully open before you've even got to the main bit. So I don't want it to go all the way at the end of the 4 bars, so I've chosen an extra 2 bars just to give that extra sweep effect, rather than, because when it opens up, you're just going to be hearing white noise. It's just going to maintain the same for about 2 bars. So I've just put it onto 6 bars, and then that's when you get this effect. You can hear that sort of kind of like effect on it. So I'll show you what I mean when I put it on 4 bars. So for that bar at the end there, it sounded like it had already fully opened, and that was it, and that was the end of it. So that's why I put it onto 6 bars. And then we've just got a bit of automation here. So this LFO is controlling this filter here and with this cutoff modulation. So you put that up there, and then that's basically going to be, the rate is going to be controlling that cutoff there. And you can change the resonance as well, which is basically just the peak point at which the cutoff is riding along the frequency spectrum. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'll take that off and I'll play it. So it's not quite as drastic as when you put the peak on, as at the very front of the filter when it's sweeping through. You notice it a lot more, and it sounds a bit more deliberate, and it sounds more like an effect. So you can hear those, you can hear that sort of riding up and not going through all the frequencies, and it almost adds like another tone to it as well. So, and then I've got an intro drum loop here, which I've just filtered off, and I've also put the same filter on that as well. So I'll play this whole bit together just as like a demo track, and you'll see how effective it is inside a track. So it just adds that little bit. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily suggest just putting a white noise effect on its own. Just layer up some drums as well. Maybe the main vocal out of your track put at the beginning as well, just to kind of add a bit of context to the build-up to this bit leading into that bit, just so there's a few sort of sneak previews, if you like, going into the main drop. So I'll just play that. I'll play it without the white noise, and then, oh sorry, I'll just play it without the drums and without the vocal, and you'll see what I mean. So it sounds a little bit dead. It doesn't really sound like it's part of the track. It sounds a bit separated. Whereas if we put the vocals and then some drums in there, it sounds like relative to the track as well, like something's about to come in, and you're just waiting for the main vocal and the main drums to sort of kick in as well. And that is how you do a white noise sweep effects. If you do have any questions, or you want to pass any suggestions along, then please leave your comments and questions in the section below, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much for watching. Take care. Bye bye.